All right, what's poppin', party pundits? We are back for another episode of Pop Talk. This is Professor Neil. I'm signing on for Coach Dave,
Real.
Boston Jared, and the Casual Rand.
What up, though?
And we are the pundits of pugilism, and we are bringing to you. This is our second kind of in a two-part series. So this is everything Tank versus Garcia. We kind of gave the our pre-fight predictions. We had the fight this following weekend, and we know the results. Your man Tank Davis won by a 7th round KO when Ryan Garcia failed to get up at the count of 10 from a left-handed liver shot. This to me was a fight that I think, one thing I predicted, I just thought it would show levels, and I think that Tank's boxing acumen definitely showed during this fight. Anything that I think that Ryan was able to do, it was just basically because of his kind of physical talents and other physical attributes that he brought to the ring. But when it actually came to any kind of ring generalship and executing a plan, I think that this was clearly a easy win for my man Tank Davis. I'm not saying that it was like he had to kind of deal with the weapons that Garcia was bringing to the table, but I think that he had a very good plan. And so one of the things I want to talk about, of course, I got my pundit pick correct. I picked the 7th round KO, and for me, I thought about two things when this happened. So one is that the Casual Rand had made a very kind of prophetic statement last week when he said that, well, we kept on saying, well, you got to worry about that left, that left hand, that left hook and stuff. And then Randy was kind of like almost flippantly just like, well, if you got to worry about that and you get caught with that, then like, what are you doing? But you can see that they found ways to kind of take away that punch. And even with that 2nd round knockdown, you could see that was almost a combination that they were trying. So like slip under the left hook and then counter with the left. I mean, it was just muscle memory. It was something that happened in a flash in the eye. And to me, that was just kind of speaking to for one, taking away Ryan Garcia's weapon, and then another finding an effective counter for that. But I do want to, before I pass it on to this, so there was some back and forth that we had on the thread, and I do want to use this as kind of fodder for conversation in that I guess Coach was talking about how the ways that Tank was able to take away Ryan's left hand, and it was a very kind of like subtle but very effective move in a sense, in that basically he was just kind of touching Ryan's left hand, right? And I guess Coach was saying pin it, but from what I saw, he would just kind of like push that. He would push his left hand out there and just kind of keep it there. But that was something that he was kind of working on, and it allowed him to know exactly when you're throwing it, and then it gave him this kind of a indicator of when to slip that punch. And it was effective, and it kind of kept it at home at times. But let's go to actually. I'm gonna let Boston Jared kind of like counter that, because I guess you have some other thoughts upon that. But watch some of the highlights, and then if you watch it, Tank consistently did that, and I think that it looked like something that they were practicing in training and whatnot. Just kind of like touch and like keep his left hand there, and then because he actually has to kind of like pull it away or bat down his hand.
He was, and I never heard it called when Dave said pinning. I wasn't sure what the hell he was talking about, but he was controlling that lead hand. Absolutely, he was controlling that lead hand of Ryan's with his lead hand. He was doing that throughout the course of the fight. The only thing I'll say, and I'll pass off to Dave because Dave was the one that made the observation. Only thing I will say is that in the first round and a half, Ryan was kind of that was the opposite of reluctant. He was okay. He was content with throwing a hook. He tried to hook around that lead hand, and he tried to jab around that lead hand of Tank. It wasn't until Tank dropped his ass that he said, nah, I got to keep these hands home and I got to really, really think about what it is I'm about to do, what's going on here, because one shot could change this whole fight. But no, when Dave said pinning the jab hand, I wasn't sure what the hell he was talking about. Actually, somebody else there, I asked him and they were like, oh, he probably means this. But Dave was right. He was blocking that lead hand of Ryan's with his lead hand and forced Ryan to throw the punches that Tank, I think, wanted him to throw. I think Tank wanted him to throw that left hook over because, like you said, Cam, they were obviously ready for that shit. And when he stopped the jab, because after he stopped that jab, Tank, Ryan was almost, he just jumped right at the bait. He said, oh, I can throw this left hook now. Just hook, hook, hook. Then he got dropped. Then after that, you heard Joe Goossen, even in the first round, Joe Goossen told Ryan, I need you to try to establish that straight right hand. Ryan tried it, but Tank's counter punching is so precise
and hard.
One thing I know from martial arts, and we train a lot of weapons in martial arts, do a lot of like machete and knife and stick, and those weapons move a lot faster than your hand can move, right? So the way you manipulate that and the way you counter that is with timing, because the stick and the sword, all that shit, it's moving way too fast. When you're dealing with somebody who understands timing, distance, range, and is also fast themselves, it could take a fast motherfucker and make him geriatrically slow. And that's the way it seemed, because Ryan has elite speed, and Tank made him look not nearly as fast because he understood those distance, the angles,
a little ordinary,
distance, timing. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk
but
about.
I think you're right. I just think that subtle movement, like Ryan was still fast, but he wasn't that kind of blinding speed. But just because he gave him something to think about, right? So he's like he's touching this jab. So like, do I bat down that hand? Do I work around it? But just the fact that he had to think about it, just that millisecond or whatnot, it has you going from like blindingly fast to a fast fighter.
Yeah, well, I would say even less than fast. But go ahead. I told I was gonna have to hand it off to Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, man. So I'll definitely say, Jared's point on Ryan rethinking that stuff once he got dropped. That's just naturally gonna happen to anybody, man. But listen, dude, I guess the biggest thing that I want to say, man, is that I'm just tired of cats talking shit about Tank's boxing IQ and not giving this man the damn credit that he needs, man. This dude is a boxing fucking genius and has always been. So so some people call it pinning, some people call it measuring. It's different worlds, depends on what camp he came in. But he took away the damn jab, he took away the damn hook. And not only that, man, when you fighting a southpaw fighter and you orthodox, the biggest thing you trying to do, and Cam, this, you trying to get that right hand in and twist that damn hook off. Ryan coming into a fight with an already sucked punk ass right hand, and then you get your damn jab and your hook taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, the movement that Tank was doing, man, he knew Ryan is a fucking. People say his hands are fast, but he's a heavy 12-toe, heavy ankle, thick damn foot, flat-footed, and Tank just exposed everything about this damn dude. It's just brilliant. And I say this. When I thought about the fight plan, I would absolutely humbly damn say, be it, Calvin or Floyd or whoever set that whole defensive and that fight plan up was damn brilliant. I didn't even think about this tip, just tapping his lead hand and keep. I totally, it didn't even cross my mind. Let me humbly say, and if any coach out there say that they absolutely thought about that, they probably lying, because that
I thought you knew, Dave. I thought you had the inside track. I thought you had to talk with them guys.
Hey man, I did talk to somebody that knows about the camp, but I didn't get all into the fight plan and none of that stuff. I just want because I like to look at it and try to see the fight plan develop myself, brother. To be honest with you. So here's my thing. Let me say this. Ryan has fast hands. Ryan Garcia is not a great boxer. Ryan has fast hands. Ryan Garcia is not one that can stalk and hunt down his prey. He couldn't even find Tank. Ryan has fast hands, but he only has that one weapon, and he's not even as good with that one weapon as damn Deontay Wilder is with his, man. I don't care what nobody say, dude. And this guy is not beating Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson.
We gotta come back to that. We gotta come back. You want to come back to that, Cam, or you want to keep walking down that rabbit hole?
No, I definitely want to go down that rabbit hole because I have some thoughts myself on that. But let's bring in the casual one into this, because you were, I mean, and then you can kind of go there because you were kind of in the middle when we were going on the thread. You felt that Coach Dave had a good point, but you also thought that Boston Jared had a good point. So, like, what do you think as far as, you know, both fighters kind of executing their game plans?
During the thread, man, it sounded like it was just miscommunication. So that's how I was like in the middle of both of them two. But as for the fight, Tank impressed me. He was pull counters off against Garcia. So I was like, man, Garcia's supposed to be fast, and he pulled counter against him. And then his footwork, Tank's footwork against Garcia the whole night. I mean, there was some times that I guess in desperation that Garcia wanted to rough him up and just give away his height advantage and try to go in there and bully. But then he got caught and he stopped that after the second round. Tank pretty much impressed me, man. The ring generalship, man, his IQ in there, and man, dude. That liver shot was so fast that I didn't really see it when it originally happened, man. They had to go to the replay. And I was like, man, is he just kneeling? And I was like, nah. But when they slowed it down, you could see the ripple in his skin. When you see the ripple in his ribs, you like, you really got hit. Buddy, you really got hit. And a lot of people online was like, nah, he ain't really get hit, man. Slow that shit down and show it. You know what I'm saying? And if you still don't think it hurt you like that, then let me punch you in your ribs.
Yeah, not only that, but like when you expose with your hands up, because I had to argue with some people at a fight party about that. But one thing that I wanted to kind of bring into the conversation, really kind of talked about. So, did you feel that Ryan Garcia, like after that punch, do you think he could have got up, you know, like for that punch, or do you think that he made a decision out there, or do you think that, I mean, because it does. One thing about a body shot
I never got hit like that, but from what I heard, like even when he put who did he put down like that? Who did Garcia put down with the punch?
It was Luke Campbell and Javi Bortula.
Yeah, Luke Campbell. When De La Hoya when De La Hoya went down. You know what I'm saying? They all say the same thing pretty much. It's like paralyzing.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I've been kicked in the liver on that side before, and I've been punched. And I can tell you right now, the kick was obviously worse. It's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like how you might imagine being like paralyzed. Your legs just go numb.
Yeah.
Like your legs go numb. You almost kind of like lose feeling in your legs. It's a really, really scary feeling. Yeah. So people who haven't been hit down there, man, it sucks. I'd rather get punched. I get punched in the face any day over that liver shot.
Absolutely. I mean, and one thing is you can't shake it off, and it's something that it lingers on, and you know, kind of weakens you throughout the fight.
Especially to get punched, like you say, Cam, as you're punching.
Yeah.
Right? That rib cage opens up, and that liver is a very, very, very big organ. And like a third of the liver sits behind the floating ribs, and then the other 2/3 of the liver are right below it. So as you open up to extend or throw whatever punch you're throwing, that liver is almost poking out. And if you can time it and catch somebody right there at that right time, it's bad news, man.
And if you slow down the tape, what you'll see is that Ryan does his best job to try to mask it, but you can see the expression on his face. And then, but if you got to look at Tank, because Tank, like his eyes get wide, it was just like, oh, he was like, he knew, he was just like, he's like, you hurt, like that hurt you, in that scene. But let's bring in Coach to kind of round this out. So
Hey, I would just say to y'all, slow motion or even fast, man. I heard the shot first before even seeing it. But even looking at the shot, let me tell you something, man. And Tank didn't even put all that he had in that shot. That was an arm punch. You didn't see that trunk rotation. You didn't see that. That was a freaking arm punch that Tank gave this kid, and it dropped him, man. This boy hits hard, man. This boy hits hard. And it's that, hey, all I can say is just, I will say this though. I will say this because normally, Cam, you would ask me this question. Well, what would you have done if you were in Ryan's corner, right? So I think Joe Goosen should have had Ryan give me some fakes or something, man. Give me some fakes and don't let him just so quickly time that or pin that that lead hand. Not only that, man, but before he got caught, he needed to find that balance, man. Hit hard boxing, we call that thing, that controlled aggression. Because when he was going at Tank and kind of flushing him a little bit, but then he needed to pull back a little bit and then rely on that stick. He just wanted to just keep coming, and then bam, that counter shot came. So I would say going forward, anybody that could give Tank some slight aggression mixed in still with a stiff jab in the outside fight can probably be some, it'll be a good fight for Tank. I think a lot of combinations that Shakur throws sometimes, man, that's going to be a good fight, man. Tank and Shakur are going to be a good fight. I'm still going with my man Tank, though. Let me go and say that now. But either which way, I just wanted to kind of say a little bit about what I think Goosen could have told Ryan instead of just, I need the right hand.
Let's stay there because this is something that Boston brought up, man. I kind of agreed. I think just because we were looking at the history, but when it came to the different advantages, I think a lot of us thought that because of his experience in having championship fighters, that Ryan might have had a slight advantage when it came to the corner or whatnot. But I don't. And looking at this fight now, I didn't really see too many adjustments. I wasn't that clear on the game plan that Ryan Garcia had going into this fight. But so, like, what do you think about the corner's performance, for this fight, Coach?
Well, I honestly, man, I think the adjustment just wasn't there, bro. I think, and this one right here, Goosen dropped the ball. Period. Ain't no sugarcoating it, man. Goosen dropped the ball, man. He could have gave Ryan Garcia 3 different. Look, man, don't just walk straight in with the jab. Give me some feints, okay? Not only that, man, stay on that outside 1-1. Give me that right hand. Let him start thinking about it. Just throw it, whether it looks ugly or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, get a little aggressive, man. You got him on his still, but don't get over aggressive. Back up a little bit. Slow it down and then stay back on that outside. Find that balance between, and we call it a controlled aggression. So that's 3 different things, man, that would have made this fight very, very, very interesting, man. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, last but not least, before he got dropped, one of the most basic truths about boxing, if you're fighting a shorter fighter, which Tank is a lot shorter, why are you just throwing? I saw no uppercuts.
There was one. He threw one the whole fight. He threw one the entire fight.
Did I miss that? Maybe I was blinking the screen.
My ball. 1 in 7 rounds and over 100. That's less than 1% of his punches.
Because I was screaming for it. People at the park were looking at me like I was like, yo, throw the uppercut.
And that's the thing, man. And a weakness that I saw on Tank was just that, man. He when he was going up under those punches, he was bending more so at the waist than his knees, man, which is scaring me. So that uppercut would have definitely been a blind, unseen shot that probably could have did a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, finish, Dave.
Yeah, and that's 4 things, bro. That's 4 solid adjustments that Goosen could have gave this guy, man.
The only thing I will say about the uppercut is that We saw what happened to Fundora when he tried to throw that uppercut from too far away. And I think because Tank has Sonic the Hedgehog feet. He has to have some of the fastest feet in all of boxing. He's able to get in and out and turn and move faster than anyone I can think of. Because Tank controlled that distance so well, I don't think, because Ryan couldn't even find the right distance to land a straight right hand. I don't think he was able to find the distance or the timing to land that uppercut. And because he wasn't using feints, he was always initiating and allowing Tank to react. He wasn't feinting, causing Tank to initiate the action and then countering Tank's counter. So I just, and again, and I wanted to jump in. I wanted to let Dave finish though. When it comes to asking for a fighter to make adjustments, you got to ask a guy to do something that you know he's capable of doing. Now, what Dave is talking about sounds like basic shit, but based on what I'm being told, if this guy wasn't really showing up to train and you didn't really have a chance to work with him, I don't know. I just, maybe Joe Goosen wanted to keep it as basic as possible and give him as little to think about as possible. I don't know. I think Dave, I ain't gonna argue with you about it. Joe Goosen, yeah, he's catching a lot of heat too.
That's what I'm saying. So you seem to be exonerating his performance and saying that he's not necessarily to blame because
the fighter got to go out there and fight her. The fighter got to go out there and throw the punches. I mean, Joe asked him to throw that right hand, and Tank's just way better than him, right? It was what it comes down to. Tank is just way better than him. Maybe because Joe asked him to do that at the end of the first round. He said, I need that right hand. And maybe Joe is thinking, let's establish the right hand and build off of that right hand. Once we start to land that right hand, see how Tank adjusts, and then we come back after the end of the round, and then we build off of that. I don't know. I'm trying to get inside Joe's head. I'm not trying to, I guess I am trying to defend Joe. We all saw that Ryan is multiple levels below Tank Davis. I don't know that any adjustment that Ryan made, Tank would have just adjusted to those adjustments and done something different. The fight was going to end with a knockout, regardless of what happened. That's just me.
Go ahead, Kajaran. What do you think about the corner's performance? For either.
I can't give anything more than what Jared just spoke of, man. It's just disappointing. And then last week when we were before the fight, we talked about it, and y'all said that Goosen was going to be an advantage, but it didn't show Saturday night. But like y'all said, the truth will come out on what happened. But at this point, if they don't establish their narrative, it's going to just sound like excuses.
Yeah.
It sounds like Goosen's out too, by the way.
Oh, it sounds like all of them out.
Yeah, it's what it sounds like. What was told to me is that it would be a surprise if Goosen continued to work with Ryan after this. That doesn't mean that he's definitely out. Goosen certainly got some incentive to come back, and Ryan got paid $5 million guaranteed. That's not without all the pay-per-view back end. So Goosen got a nice little check, but Goosen, I imagine, wants to win. He's a competitor, right? He wants to win. He don't want to give up time and sitting around waiting for fighters to show up. This guy's doing whatever the hell else he's doing, shooting Instagram videos and shit. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, part of letting people, because you're saying that everybody's out. I mean, if you have a written contract, then that is legally binding. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how many fights
everybody. Yeah, I don't know how many is left, but we're gonna make a quick transition to. I wanted to. We didn't necessarily talk about this, but in talking about Tank's boxing acumen, and I think that kind of gets overlooked a lot of times. So he's not really in anybody's top 10 for pound, right? So
I mean, he doesn't have any accolades.
Hold on.
He doesn't have any accolades.
I had him in mind. and y'all
well, I'm talking about like like the Ring magazine or like ESPN.
Oh,
Yeah,
like,
people who don't know
not-
the
yeah,
team
yeah.
and cool with the team, and so we're talking about honest,
Yeah.
objective.
No, I mean,
How can you
you've
have
been
him
the
in
biggest
top
Tank
10?
fan or whatnot, but I'm talking about like why not though? This is somebody who has dominated his opposition.
Doesn't have the strength of opposition. That's bottom line.
Right, the opposition. He's beaten at least 5 or 6 former world champions, maybe even more than that. I mean,
where are we arguing top 10 or top 5? What are we arguing for?
I'm just saying,
'Cause
like
he can't be a top
nobody.
5.
He's in. I don't think he's in. I think it's gonna be now, but he's not in anybody's like top 10. I haven't seen.
How can you? You got guys who are multiple division champs, unified champs. I mean,
Okay, so like, give me some. So why do you see somebody like Shakur Stevenson, across, in those, but you don't see a Tank Davis?
I think Shakur Stevenson is a multiple division unified champ.
What about Haney?
Tank is not.
Yeah, I don't have. You know how I feel about Haney. I don't have Haney in my. I can't remember the last time we talked about this, but Haney to me, yeah, I would rank. And it's tough to put Tank over Haney because Haney's the undisputed champ, right? But
I don't, man. I would. I mean, because like let's be honest. He beat Kambosos for that, and
Kambosos is a solid fighter, but I don't think Kambosos is any better than Jose Pedraza or
Exactly.
or I just don't.
Even like a Hector Garcia, but then Luis. I mean, not Luis, but Leo Santa Cruz, and like not only that, but he's stopping these folks, right? So
but remember, Santa Cruz is a 126 pounder that he brought up. Hector Luis Garcia was a 130 pounder who we brought up, right? So there's caveats there. There's asterisks associated with it.
Santa Cruz had a belt at 130 when they fought because they actually. I just watched this fight this weekend.
It is.
They actually fought for two division. They fought for the 130 and the 135. It's only happened 3 times in boxing, and it happened when Floyd fought Maidana. I think the second time they fought for the 147 and 154, which I didn't know. But I didn't know that. Yeah, when they were actually fighting for that, they were actually fighting for the 130 and the 135. Sure? Yeah, I looked it up. So
what weight was Tank at?
No, so you can't fight for the 130 unless you weigh that much, right? So you can fight for the 135 even if you weigh 127, right? You just have to weigh under. Right. But now they both weighed in at 129 pounds.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both weighed in at
vacated.
What's that?
So did Tank win the belt and vacated?
The 130 belt?
Yeah.
Tank won a lot of belts, bro.
That's what I'm saying. He's not. He's a 2 division. He's at least a 2 division. He's beat multiple champions. But
are we talking about real belts or like the belt he has now, the Reggie belt, the regular belt? Are these actual belts? I know he's had a belt at 126. Was it 126 or? Let's look here. You got BoxRec pulled up, Dave?
Bro, he's had the WBA world title, world super featherweight title, the world lightweight title. Bro, this bro. I mean, dude, the dude has some more. His dude is a world champion, bro. I mean, I don't know what to say, bro. I mean,
and there's a certain or it's not maybe not a dichotomy, but it's almost paradoxical in the sense that everybody almost unequivocally says like this is the face of boxing. So how can you be the face of boxing and you're not even in the top? I'm not saying number one.
It's a draw. The face of boxing, Cam, is about your value as a boxing commodity.
No, you have to be in the top 10. Even when Oscar was the face of boxing, when Oscar, Floyd, Manny, Tyson, they were all in the top 10 at least.
I think that's just a coincidence, man. Being the face of boxing has got more to do with your value as a boxing commodity than it has to do with your accolades. I think, in my opinion,
a undefeated fighter who's got belts at multiple weight divisions, who's knocked out 95% of his opponents, who's beat former world champions. I'm just a little surprised, and I think that maybe there is I think that, but because of the fact that he is known to, knock out fighters or whatnot, but I think what Coach said, he doesn't get credit for his boxing acumen, but like to not even being, so like in
well, everyone thinks he's a knockout guy, right? And
yeah, that's what everybody thinks he is.
His boxing IQ, his skill level is overlooked because he's considered by people to be a knockout guy. He is a tremendous boxer. But what we started off with was he's not in the top 10 pound for pound. And if we work it out, we can go 1 through 5 right now, and he can't be in the top 5. You've got guys who are undisputed. You've got guys who are multiple division champs and undisputed. So he's automatically outside of the top 5. So now you're working 6 through 10. And if we litigate this out and we go 6 through 10, I think it's gonna be tough to put him in there. I'm sure Dave come up with a great argument, but there are a lot of guys who you can make great arguments for.
Man, I know. So I'm seeing like Devin Haney that I would take over him.
You would take Haney over Tank or take Tank over Haney?
I would take Tank over Haney. Jermell Charlo, I would take over him.
What about
wait. I'm sorry.
Where's Charlo?
Jermell, even the one at 154.
You think you would swap out Tank over Jermell Charlo?
That's hard.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like looking at looking at the.
That's hard, bro.
Like, so you somebody that has.
It's not hard.
So, like
Jermell Charlo deserves that spot over Tank. He's 5, right? On the list. He should be in the top 5.
Yeah, you need to be in the top.
He's not
5.
in the top 5. No, he's not in the top. Come on, man. Y'all are blowing this dude up now, man. Like
he's an undisputed champ.
Damn, one of the toughest divisions in the sport.
He's also he also has he's lost before, so we know he can be beat.
Because he's fighting the best guys in the division.
So you act like Tank is avoiding fighters. So Tank is and Tank has been dominating fighters.
Let's talk about it.
Tank has been dominating fighters.
Well, because Floyd tried to make the Lomachenko fight, right? And somebody didn't want to fight Lomachenko.
You think
that's
Tank?
That's documented. I don't want us to go and get bogged in and go litigate the whole thing. I don't know, but it was floated out there. Lomachenko said he wanted to fight. Bob Arum said he wanted to fight. The fight didn't happen. Meanwhile, Charlo was fighting Castaño twice. He's fighting Harrison twice. He's coming back and he's stopping these guys.
Well, listen. All right.
I think that's disrespectful to Jermell Charlo to have.
Yeah,
no, really.
For Tank.
The one that everybody got jumped on was Bivol. But when
I didn't say nothing about an undefeated fighter who's dominated his competition, but Charlo has not dominated his competition. And let's be honest, like that Harrison win doesn't like
it didn't age well.
It's not aging well.
But the Pedraza win didn't age well either, because Pedraza got beat up by everybody else in the division too.
Once you get you get beat the fuck up and knocked out, you ain't the same fighter.
No, because Harrison had been beat before, and Harrison got a lot of credit for beating Charlo. So the same guy you give him credit for is like, well, you gotta give him credit because he beat. So he's getting credit for beating Charlo. And then like he went out there. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like you gotta look at it as like, is he really like that? But it's like, and then with Castaño. Are those and these are fighters that really kind of like push them. And when I think about pound for pound, I think about somebody who's separating themselves from the competition. And like with Charlo, we give Charlo credit because he's taking on the competition, but he seems like he's right there. He doesn't.
Muhammad Ali don't deserve to be in the top 10.
No, we talking about Hall of Fame fighters you talking about Hall of Fame fighters that he took. Like these are not Hall of Fame fighters that Charlo's fighting.
I'm saying a loss is a loss.
No, but what I'm saying is like you're not seeing somebody who looks like.
And Charlo went back and avenged every loss he had.
He's losing though. He's losing. He's losing though. What I'm saying is like you're not talking about somebody who is.
Everybody loses.
Come on, like let me finish the point. I'm saying like he's not showing that he's levels above his opponents.
Well, Tank hasn't shown his levels above Shakur, Devin, Lomachenko, Frank Martin.
Yeah, I mean,
or
like
even
all of those
Keon
guys are,
Davis.
but all of those guys are not only in the top 10 of the division, those are top 10 pound for pound.
Not those guys. Those guys I just named aren't all top 10 pound for pound.
Shakur Stevenson,
Jamel Charlo was fighting the best guys in his division.
How Shakur top 10 in the division and he only had one fight in the division?
No,
well, he might be ranked. He might be ranked.
I said yo guys are talking about top 10 in their division. Shakur Stevenson not top 10 pound for pound.
He might be, but the point is Jamel Charlo is fighting those guys in his division. Tank has yet to fight those guys in his division. Ryan Garcia was the first guy out of all those guys that he's fought. We got to see him in there against guys like Frank Martin, Shakur, Lomachenko, and Devin.
I mean, that's true, but like,
he's undisputed. He's fought those guys and knocked them out.
No, let's be honest. What happened, and this is like, so Randy's quiet now because what happened was he didn't go through the gauntlet at lightweight. Let's not act like that. What he did.
Well, who are you talking about?
We're talking about Haney, who was undisputed. Are you
I know that. Fair enough. But we don't need to go and right. But Haney is still considered a top guy in the division, right? Without the belts, right? Yeah. Haney is still a top guy in the division. Dave, you scratching your head there. Dave, you want to jump in and say something?
Yeah. Man, look, man. I don't, bro. I'm not gonna go back and forth, bro, about Tank and about the strength of opposition, you know. And the thing that gets me is that it don't matter, even if damn Muhammad Ali on his fourth fight, you guys can look at damn Muhammad Ali and say this cat gonna be blah 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 blah. You know, and that's what kills me about everybody that tried to take away from this guy's fight. And I look through this cat's record, the IBF. Yeah, I would say Liam Walsh. I would say Pedraza, Fonseca. I mean, the dude has fought some cats, and the dude has belts. And the thing that I'm getting at is that there's even a clear difference. Mike Tyson was a, quote, knockout artist, not a great boxer. Tank is a dual threat, and I think personally, I'm with Cam on this. It's strange that the cat's not ranked, but let's or in the top 10 or whatever. And look, you saw the fix that was in, which we ain't even got to yet on the scorecard. Let's go ahead on and face it.
Let's go ahead and segue into that. Let's go ahead and segue into that, Coach. Yeah, so go ahead and talk about the fix that was in. So to add context to the situation, in the second round, Ryan Garcia was dropped, right? And this was a legitimate, hard knockdown. He recovered well from it. But on the official scorecards, one judge had it 10-10, and then the two other judges had it 10-9. So how does this happen?
That's crazy. It's like you said, is it obviously the fix? I mean,
they don't like him because the boy is good. The boy talk mad junk. You got Floyd talking junk, Leonard Ellaby talking junk, and it's all just about haters. Haters. Period.
I ain't good. Well, look, I think Dave is. I'm not going to argue with Dave on that point. There are people who do not like Tank Davis for a variety of reasons, but I will say this: in the interest of fixing a fight to favor Ryan Garcia is the more value, has a higher ceiling as a boxing commodity than a guy like Tank. Is the way I will rationalize it, because he's the clean cut guy. He doesn't have a criminal record. Yeah. He's got endorsements.
You could be in more houses as a Ryan Garcia than a Tank Davis. Ryan Garcia with nothing even before this was still making Gatorade commercials and so on and so forth. So he said that commodity, like the sport of boxing get more advertisement through Ryan Garcia than
that's why I disagree. Like Ryan Garcia was somebody.
I disagree with that too.
Ryan Garcia was somebody who was going to be easily exposed or whatnot. And when you talk about a commodity or whatnot, so Ryan Garcia has been less active than Tank Garcia. Like Ryan Garcia took off almost a year to deal with like mental health issues out there. And then so he's shown that he's like fickle, and then he's not shown that he can. So when you talk about Tank, he's somebody who is, even if he is going through some stuff, like Tank's got a court date in 2 weeks. He has that Floyd mentality where he can zone in and he can have a stellar performance. Not only that, he's a knockout artist with legitimate boxing skills.
So where are the endorsements?
But hold on. But let me say this though. But listen though. So also, what if? So you don't know. So first and foremost, you don't really know what endorsements are coming or not coming. Mike Tyson was just as bad. That joke. I mean, I can't remember all his commercials. Nintendo, the Pepsi commercial.
It was huge.
I can't remember all of them. You know what I'm saying? But who knows what endorsements are coming or not coming, dude? Is what I'm getting at.
Who is selling pay-per-view?
And-
Ryan Garcia is not a pay-per-view. He's not a proven pay-per-view
The pay-per-view
commodity.
came, you know what I'm saying? Just like I agree with you there. Like he is taking the Mayweather approach where people are going to buy the pay-per-views to try to see him lose. But think of it like this. Devin Haney is undefeated, undisputed with 4 belts. Ryan Garcia doesn't have anything, but Ryan Garcia got sponsorship by Dior, Gatorade, 1800 Tequila, Gymshark, and so on and so forth. I agree with what y'all saying, but I just think Ryan Garcia, for the casual fans or for the networks, it is network friendly to advertise a Ryan Garcia than a Tank Davis.
If you look at Forbes, Ryan Garcia's estimated net worth is like $25 million or something like that. He's done nothing in the sport. It's like 5 times what Tank's
That's what I'm saying. So I don't see, when you think about the health of boxing in the boxing community, like he's done all of this outside of boxing. Like he is not Oscar De La Hoya. Like Oscar De La Hoya,
I get you, Cam. I agree with that, Cam,
Hoya
but
was a
respectfully,
proven commodity in the ring.
right? But Cam, the guys who write the checks believe in him. They see something, right? You're not writing the checks that Dior is writing, the GM is writing, the Gatorade's writing. So I agree with you, but the guys that write the checks disagree.
So Cam, even by going through your same logic, you know what I'm saying? Oscar De La Hoya did get that and become Golden Boy, became the face of boxing, but he, in his own mind, chose to have Ryan Garcia fight bums and babysit him, and so he can be the face of boxing and continue making Golden Boy money. Now he was upset, like he's been upset about, and it's been reports coming out that Oscar De La Hoya never wanted this Tank fight. And I truly believe it, because now, you know what I'm saying? Tank,
but like, why?
It's kind of like damaged goods. So who do Golden Boy have their to hang their fucking hat on, saying that now this is the face of Golden Boy?
They still got Virgil. No, they still got Virgil Ortiz. They got Virgil Ortiz.
Who's going to get exposed? But at the same time,
they got Floyd Schofield too.
And like, I didn't even talk about, Ryan, his lack of training and kind of a concentration. And then we've never seen, Tank had one slip up where he came in, overweight.
No, we're not arguing that who deserves it. Now Tank, hands down.
No, I'm not saying who deserves it, but if you had
in
Tank,
the ring, because outside of the ring, he's still going to have to answer to that shit.
Tank, and then you had Ryan Garcia out there. So Ryan Garcia might not train, do all these other things, isn't proven and all this other stuff, bad footwork and all this other stuff. And then you had Tank, you had Tank Davis over there. To me, I think that the more proven commodity is Tank Davis.
You're not seeing this as an investor.
It is, but it's like saying, like, okay, would I rather invest in Jake Paul or Jermell Charlo?
Jake Paul. The answer
exactly.
would be Jake Paul.
And then that's what they're gonna do, is like Jake Paul. But I was like, that's not for the health of boxing. Like that, like Jake Paul is like, if you do that, and you put that like you are signing the death knell for box, like you are sounding, I should say, the death knell for boxing, because
I don't
that,
know about
like
that. That's a little bit
like that's a
hyperbolic.
facade. Like that is a facade.
I give Ryan Garcia all the credit in the world for taking this fight, because if you look at Golden Boy's MO, like the Munguia route, Ryan Garcia could have been the face of boxing just by fighting bums. Tank Davis will never be the face of boxing because in another month he getting ready to do some time. And I understand you're going to say Mayweather went to prison also, but you know what I'm saying? It's just a bad narrative that you left a pregnant girl, you know what I'm saying, that almost died in the car and just ran off. Man, who want to invest in that?
Yeah, it's a tough sell, Cam. That's all we say. We're not saying it's right or it's fair. We're just saying that's what it is. Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Coach.
Hey, look. Okay, so all right, good. So Under Armour, whatever, signed and did some stuff with them. Showtime.
That's the cash cow.
Let me finish. Showtime, has done something with them, and on Twitter a while back ago, Tank literally said, "Hey, okay, yeah, now I am ready for some endorsements." So say what you want to say, man. I mean, it's either which way, Mayweather's route and the pay-per-view and all that stuff. Hey, maybe the Joker just don't want him. And to me, in the grand scheme of things, the endorsements and the money got it. But at the end of the day, is Tank the face of boxing? Absolutely.
Really? So you would say that Tank after last week, and you think he supplants Canelo?
Dude, yes. To me, yes. Canelo, I think, is on the downside. The thing that I think is the face of boxing, period. To be honest with you guys, and we already been talking about it. This 135 and this 140 division is going to be dynamite. I'm telling you, it's going to be dynamite. Now,
the fight's got to get made. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Any one of those. And so I guess the reason why I ain't even gonna get a lot more into it is when I say this, when this kid, when he dusts off Haney's ass, all right, when he dusts off anyone else, and when it's him and Shakur, then I want to see, okay, strength of opposition, no, he's a knockout artist, all this other pathetic stuff that people saying about Tank. Then I want to hear what you guys gonna bump your gums about then. But
Dave, no one is saying the kid's not a tremendous boxer. You're talking about guys who are casual fans. I don't think anybody who is a serious boxing fan will sit here and say he's just a knockout artist. Not after the last 3 performances. So I get it that's out there, but that's not. So you can't take people who say.
But I guess the point I'm getting at is this: whatever issues Mike Tyson had, say what the hell you want to say. Mike Tyson was the face of boxing during an era because he was just whooping butt. Period.
Right.
Mike Tyson was the face of boxing because he was whooping butt, hands down. And if you guys don't agree with that, then we need to cancel the whole podcast, bro.
No one's disagreeing with that, Dave. But after he went to jail, he wasn't the face anymore, right? Because then you had De La Hoya, who emerged after, right? Isn't around the same time De La Hoya emerged after Tyson went to prison?
He won't put my Iron Mike.
I ain't gonna say people ain't gonna like a pretty face of it. I mean, you in America, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's, I'm not gonna sit here and say that. But what I'm getting at is the true fight fans, which I thought, all of us were. This kid at 135, and even if he goes up to 140, it's going to be hard to stop this kid, man.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody can be, after watching this fight, I don't think anybody can beat him at 135. I think it's going to take somebody at 140, and that's going to depend on who's still around at 140 to beat him. I don't think Shakur has got the power to beat him. Devin Haney.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that. Let's because I did want to bring this up because I think it's deserves our attention. So if you watch the post-fight press conference, one thing that you would notice is the absence of Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, who did not show up, did not show out for your man Ryan Garcia. Now, they both put out some quote unquote apology videos. There's been some conspiracy theories. And I want us to kind of first talk about Bernard Hopkins, because so there's this notion that PBC felt that Bernard Hopkins was trying to rub some type of steroid cream onto Tank Davis so that he would pop hot after the fight, or some of the issues like that. And so Bernard hopped upon this and said that that is essentially the reason why I decided to not show up. So is there any, I don't know, you got your ear to the streets, Boston Jared. Is there any validity to this?
No, there isn't any validity to that. At least that's not what I was told. What I was told is there was definitely some people felt some kind of way. And when I say people, the decision makers, the guys at Golden Boy, Oscar and Bernard in particular, Joe Goosen, some of the brass over at DAZN, they felt some kind of way about Ryan's approach to this fight. They were reluctant to have him sign that contract to begin with. And when he insisted that people get on board, and people got on board and they supported him, he didn't take the preparation to this fight seriously. And you add that to the fact that the whole incident with Bernard and during the weigh-in, you've got the stuff that Leonard Ellerbe had said to Oscar up to during the pre-fight about running off with all their fighters and all that stuff. There was some hurt feelings. So all that stuff put together, these guys just didn't want to show up for that press conference. I believe it was, you had Ryan was there. I believe it was Ryan's parents.
Yeah, his father,
another representative from Golden Boy.
But his trainer wouldn't show up. That's
like I said, look, for what it's worth, he apparently did not take this preparation for this fight as seriously as he should have. It was the biggest fight of his life. There was a lot of time and energy that went into this to make this. Doing these cross-promotional events is a pain in the ass. And the guys at DAZN, the guys at Golden Boy bent over backwards to accommodate Ryan, despite them not wanting him to take this fight right now. And people feel like Ryan didn't put in the same effort that those other guys put in to help give him this opportunity, is what I gathered. I'm not going to sit here and read the text to you, but that's what was.
So I call bullshit on that, because the Friday before the fight, the training, lack of training was there, but they still showed up to that. But then after the fight, after they lost, they won't show up. I think it was just a bad business move. No matter what bad blood you have with that fighter, you still have to come out to show support, because that's your brand, that's your banner that's being flown out there with Golden Boy. So now up and coming fighters, our prospects, are looking at you like, man, if I go with this promotion company, and if I lose one fight, they're gonna just dump me and just shit on me. So why would I go fight with them?
That's not why they didn't show up, though. They didn't show up just because of loss. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
One, that narrative haven't been put out. So all the casual fans, all the 99% of America saw was, you backed your fighter all the way till he lost, and then disappeared when he lost. So if I'm a prospect, why would I? If I'm a parent or a manager of a prospect, why would I let guide them to Golden Boy Promotions?
I mean, if they've got the fights, if they've got the fights, they've got the dates, and they've got the people in the division that your kid fights in, you go and sign that contract. That's all the shit comes down to. Boxing is an individual sport. It's not a team sport, you know? If they got the money and they got the language in the contract, just like go ask Floyd Schofield's father why he turned down Top Rank, and he turned down PBC, and he turned down Matchroom, and he signed with Golden Boy, because Golden Boy gave them what they wanted, and they signed the dotted line. That's what it's going to come down to. I know Dave's in the business.
Let me add
Sorry,
a little bit of more context. So we talked about Bernard, and then this is what Oscar said. Oscar said that he basically, because they were at the fight, but basically he said that he was receiving death threats, and that his security basically said that once this fight is over, is hey, we got to get you out of here. But these are I just want to give context. So these are their excuses and whatnot. So, Coach, do you think that there's anything to that, or as a coach, I mean, would you show up for your fighter?
Yeah. So, and you took the words out of my mouth, bro. Look, I ain't even gonna get into death threats or this or that. You know what? They should have been there. Period. Hands down. If somebody's wife won't give him birth and they had to run out, or somebody won't, having convulsions and throwing up blood or what, hey, look, man, you should have been sitting right there with Ryan Garcia. And that's my take on it. I can't get into the excuses of why. I don't really care about, the reasons that they gave, the ones that I have heard, just doesn't mean anything to me. They absolutely should have been there, And I think too, on the second point of it is, both Jared and Randy are kind of right, but in terms of, people gonna be kind of looking at it like, man, look at this promotion company. But Jared is right in the sense of like, look, if you got the fighters, I'm trying to get in it. I think what Jared wasn't right at is no, not on no level whatsoever. On no level whatsoever, dude, is boxing an individual sport. Now, you might be in that ring by yourself, but make no mistake about it, man. Let me be utterly crystal clear. Boxing, dude, is not an individual sport, man. And when you are trying to do it on your own, then you absolutely make the wrong decisions that you need to make in this sport, man. But it is a team, bro. And I think Ryan Garcia, who I can't remember who said it, maybe Ryan, and again, I don't know if it's true, but if it comes out that he didn't take this fight serious and he wasn't showing up, then he didn't rely on his team. And he got exactly what he, got exactly what he deserved. So when you do go at it individually in boxing, man, you can seriously get hurt. But it's a team thing, man. It's the promoters making that fight. It's the trainers doing it. It's the managers trying to set that stuff up, man. And at the end of the day, dude, they didn't show up. They wasn't there. And from a coaching angle, it hurts. It hurts, bro, because you just there. And again, I don't know what their reasons are, but you're asking my opinion. I'd have been sitting right there. I don't care how lumped up he was.
All right. So with that said, we got a few minutes, but I think that we'd be remiss if we did not kind of talk about the next step for both fighters, and particularly how this impacts the 135-pound weight class. So at this time, we know that the champion, the undisputed champion, is Devin Haney, who has a fight coming up in May against Vasily Lomachenko. That's going to hopefully clear up a bit of this mess. We know that Tank holds of what's Boston has coined the Reggie belt, so he has a regular WBA championship, and we have the newest entry into this weight division, which is Shakur Stevenson. So let's first talk about Ryan Garcia. We'll go back to Boston on this one. So what do you think that he should do next after this defeat that which is the first of his career?
Well, for one, Ryan apparently has made it clear that he's moving up to 140. So 135, he's leaving behind. So he's moving up to 140. And to me, he has got to do a complete renovation, especially if what I was told about him and Joe Goossen probably not continuing their relationship. He'll be starting off with a new trainer, potentially. He's got to start from the ground up. I mean, I'm talking about not even fighting 12-round fights at first. Go up to 140, start with guys right outside the top 10, get your whatever, get a 10-rounder in, get an 8-rounder in, build your confidence back up, identify your deficiencies. And again, if Ryan wants to, if he's in boxing for the long run, if he's going to be around for a long time, he wants to get better. This is what I think he needs to do. Start outside that top 10, start off with an 8 or a 10 rounder, and build yourself back up. I'm looking at guys that are available to him at 140 pounds. If he wants to make a splash, I think maybe a guy like Montana Love maybe is out there at 140 pounds.
Really?
Adrian Broner is a 140 pounder that needs an opponent.
I would say Broner before Montana Love, but I mean, don't you want to get him
Richardson Hitchens is there,
a nice win first though?
Well, I agree. But again, it's tough. This kid already is a part-time boxer, right? If you want to get his focus, you want to get him to commit to training, I think you gotta give him the right incentive. And I think pulling up some guy that nobody's ever heard of, a guy that's not going to talk smack to him, a guy that's going to just sit there and not bring some liveliness to the buildup, that's no good. I think a guy like Montana Love or a guy like Adrian Broner or something like that, those guys are going to talk smack. They're going to sell the fight. They're going to keep his interest. They're going to motivate him and get him to do what he needs to do outside the ring to make sure his performance inside the ring is on point. So I'm looking here. 140 is a tough division. I mean, there ain't a whole lot of glamorous fights. There are some interesting opportunities if he plays his cards right. You've got Arnold Barboza. You've got Jose Ramirez. I mean, a Barboza fight in California is going to do big numbers. A Ramirez fight in California is going to do big numbers. A Teofimo Lopez fight in New York City will do big time numbers, but he's got to build his way back up to those types of fights. I agree. He's not in a position to take those fights right now. There's no reason for anybody to believe that he'd win any of those fights. So yeah, start back from the outside. Maybe a Montana Love, maybe an Adrian Broner, but that might even be pushing it. I think he needs a nobody right now to build his get his confidence back.
All right, Coach, what are your thoughts if you were handling Ryan Garcia after his first professional loss?
Yeah, so if he did move up to 140, man, and even Ryan said, I don't know if you guys have saw him on Instagram or whatever, but he literally said, hopefully I can get a couple of fights and then maybe see him again at wherever, 140 or something like that, So I think Jared is on it with that couple of fights. I just wouldn't go too low with the no name stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I would definitely make sure that I could get this guy a win on that first one. I think a couple of names that Jared might have left off that, let's say he makes those adjustments, right? Let's say he makes those adjustments that we know he need to make from this team. And mind you, there was a lot. What's the cat name? Zapata, whatever.
Yeah.
William Zapata.
Yeah. And I don't know, Jared knows all the who owns who or how difficult it would be to make the fight or not. I'm just giving names. So either if they can't make the fight, that caliber of fighter, I think, in the rounds that he could make it. So I personally would hit up like a Zapata or something, and then even a Catterall or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'd go for that one too. And then, but only after 2 fights, then I'd be trying to knock off somebody, man, that could really be a name. I think you said, bro, like, dude, I was like, hey man, that might be.
I wouldn't mind the Broner fight. I think that Broner doesn't throw a lot of punches, and just his youth might even carry him.
His youth, exactly. That Broner would be a great thing,
They
man.
would sell.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about unless Shakur, Tank, and all those cats move up once they get there. I would honestly be trying my best to go ahead on and try to knock off whoever's up in that joker, man. Maybe get that Gary Russell, and then hey, you talked your way into a fight with Tank. Maybe you can talk your way into a fight with Josh Taylor. I ain't saying you ain't gonna get lumped up, but and
Taylor beat him.
Well, I
last
mean,
thing-
Josh Taylor's not going to be at 140 long.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't even name Josh Taylor. I think Taylor's got Teofimo coming up, and I'm pretty sure that's his cash out of the
Gotcha.
division
Okay.
fight.
Yeah. And I like to feel, but dang man, I had a thought, man. I lost it.
There's Arnold Barboza also is the hot name. You've got Prograis, which nobody's gonna go put him
Yeah,
anywhere.
ain't
near.
nobody going for that one.
Nobody's putting him anywhere near Sabril Matisse either. There's Alberto Puello.
He popped hot, so we don't know what he about to do.
Oh, that's right. He did pop hot. Shit.
So
So he'll be
Randy, let's bring you. So just speaking for the casual fans, I mean, what would you like to see next, or what would you pay to? I don't know. I mean, do you think that
this
Ryan
loss wasn't
Garcia's
bad.
pay-per-view from now on?
This loss wasn't bad for Garcia. He already had the built-in excuse for the weight drainage. So now his publicist or whoever does his whoever team he
PR.
goes with for promotion can just advertise it as, look, he was weight drained at the 136, so now he's at 140 where his rightful weight class. Put him in with a good, you know what I'm saying, good show. Y'all sleeping on I'll put him in with like Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that has a name, but that not in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Just to get him back. That's a co-main event right there. So
Co-main event, you think he's gonna do?
Yeah,
he's been main event for the last
co-main for
4 or
this
5
fight.
events.
So I think Ryan would be a co-main for like coming up at 140, his introduction to 140. Or this would be his second fight at 140, right?
Say again, Randy?
You got to pay him too much, I think, to be a co-main event. I don't.
Man, not coming off a loss, man. He ain't no main event coming off a loss.
It don't matter.
I think the expectation that the people at DAZN have of him is that he is a main event. He's a main event fighter.
But isn't he getting ready to be a free agent?
I don't know the answer.
I don't know about that. That's why I was saying there's contracts that's in there. I don't see him.
I think that whole spectacle was because that was his last fight. I think the beginning of next year, his contract with Golden Boy is up. So
that'd be interesting.
Event. I mean, unless you're doing because who would he co-main event unless it's a
for Virgil
Crawford, you know,
for Virgil Crawford.
He's bigger than Virgil. That's like you never once Oscar, once Floyd, once all of them became main events. You can't go back to co-main event.
If Virgil Ortiz was gonna fight Terrence Crawford, he can be the co-main and anchor that, and they could sell that. Or if that's really the only guy I could see him.
And unless it's a heavyweight fight, I don't see how he could co-main.
So where would he shine? So you saying like him versus a non-top 10 fight is a main event on somebody?
Man, him versus To Go was a main event fight.
He's been doing that. He's been doing that.
Was he main eventing?
Yeah, against To Go, absolutely. That was a main event fight.
Yeah. Like those are his shows. Those are his shows.
And that's the other side of it. Like Cam, that's why I threw out a name like Montana Love, because the expectation is this guy is he's a main event fighter. So you give him one confidence building fight against some guy, and then you got to put him right back in there, especially based off the money he's making. The other name that I left out there, again, if he's a free agent, does he sign? If he signs with Top Rank, Top Rank's got a lot of the 140-pound inventory. Sandor Martin is a guy who's out there too. I don't know if you want to throw him in there.
That's that risk versus reward. It's like Sandor Martin gave Teofimo a lot of problems.
Yeah,
I think I'm with the casual one. I think somebody like Coleman, who was a former champion, who's not quite punch drunk, but is getting there. Somebody that Garcia can knock out and then just say, "I'm back."
Coleman might be retiring. I don't. They better hurry up and offer him that fight.
That's what I'm saying. If they throw 7 figures at him,
he'll suit right back up.
Yeah, he'll suit right back up. So all right. So we want to let's end with talking about the man of the evening of the month, who might be the face of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, who actually does, he has a court date coming in a couple of weeks. So I'm not sure that he's gonna spend any jail time. Maybe some promotion. He got a nice check, so he can definitely pay for the lawyers. But because to me, he seems to make the lightweight weight limit pretty comfortably. Or not. I mean, he look, his eyes look a little big and all those other things, but I think that he has at least 3 more fights at lightweight. So what do you think are his next steps? And we'll start with Coach.
Well, this is just wishful thinking, man. All right, this is totally wishful thinking, man. I wish that he would beg Haney to stay at 135, and I wish that he would get Haney after Haney lumps up Lomo. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to see him to do that for a couple of reasons. One, to get all the belts, to get everything, and then to see him and Shakur just bang it out. Ooh. So that's honestly what I would want. I would love for him to go straight for Devin Haney, right? Like right now, even before he got with Shakur, man. And I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. That's probably it. But
that's perfect. I mean, him against Shakur, that's like the modern day Hagler Leonard right there.
Yeah, that's modern day Hagler Leonard, man. So, God, I wish that would be it, man. Yeah. And really, how do you go down though? Like seriously speaking, man, how do you go down from Garcia? No, we call them this modern generation, 4 horsemen. Not getting all into what those cats did in the past, but as of right now, in terms of exciting fights and big money fights and skilled fights, those 4 had it. So where do you go? You know what I'm saying?
You want to keep that momentum and stuff.
Exactly. That's where I'm at with it.
The casual one. What about you? What's the next steps for Tank?
It's tough. If you look at the landscape, so Tank had the Reggie of the WBA. So if Haney was to beat Lomachenko and refuse to fight Tank next, Tank really don't have a dance partner because Spence ain't gonna let Frank Martin get chewed up right yet. Zepeda, and then Lomachenko coming off a loss. You know what I'm saying? One of those 2 would be a great fight. You know what I'm saying? Either Lomachenko or Haney. But if Haney was to beat Lomachenko and then not call out Tank, that'd be a travesty. But then again, if Lomachenko loses, I don't think he's going to take Tank as the next fight after losing to Haney. So
I mean, Loma only has a couple of more fights, and then this is gonna be his first pay-per-view, right? Has Loma done a pay-per-view?
No, not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of. This would be his first pay-per-view.
I think that Reggie belt kind of limits him, and I mean the only thing that us as fans can pray for is a Haney win and Haney grab his balls and be like, all right, this is the fight I want now.
No, I mean, why do you think that the Reggie belt limits him? Because that makes him a mandatory for whoever wins.
Right, I was just gonna say.
Like, why does that limit him?
Like I just mentioned, if you look at the WBA, I don't think Team Spence is gonna let Frank Martin.
No, I'm saying no. It's the WBA. Haney has a WBA belt. He has all the belts.
No, I said if Haney decides to say something else and pull a fucking Canelo and fight some other shit, then it'll be a travesty. I'm saying the only fight to make is the Haney fight, and if Haney don't sign that contract or decide to fight Tank after Lomachenko, then it gets really fuzzy for Tank.
And then, I mean, nobody's saying Shakur Stevenson for some reason.
Because he only has 1 fight in the division. Like,
yeah, but he's talking. He's
yapping
his mouth.
He's ready for that weight.
He should be quiet then. Then he said he had both of those guys' name in his mouth.
Of course, because he's a competitor, dude. Like he wants those fights, obviously. But
He
I
should be
don't think
quiet. Then
that.
if we can't talk about him, then he shouldn't be. I mean,
But shit,
Come
Keyshawn
on,
Davis
man.
is yelling everybody's name too.
Well,
Nobody
Yeah.
Keyshawn want a piece of that. He wants some Frank Martin smoke.
he do.
He do,
And-
but that's
and-
not a fight. That's not a fight.
and
that
like
can
that's
be-
his level right now. I mean, Keyshawn. I mean, I saw this last fight. I was like, he ain't
He
ready.
will get mollywopped.
He not ready. He not.
He
ready.
ain't ready. Him and
He-
Shoot, all them jokers got some great ways to go, man. They got
So,
They
so
do.
back to what I was saying though, if the Haney Tank fight isn't made, then Tank what's next for Tank is kind of fuzzy. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
it's not. Isaac Cruz.
Who?
They gonna fight Isaac Cruz again.
Ooh, he's
They're
Why?
already talking about
But
that shit.
why?
Because
Why?
he's Mexican. Because he's Mexican. And that's the Floyd Mayweather green print formula. Black versus Mexican on a Mexican holiday. It'll be Cinco de Mayo or September the 15th. He'll fight Isaac Cruz again. I guarantee they're already making the phone calls. They're already doing up the paperwork.
Oh.
Hey,
It's not
speaking
fuzzy.
of
It's
Cinco
not
de
fuzzy
Mayo,
at
what
all.
happened to who? Oh, Alvarez is fighting Cinco de Mayo. All right. Go ahead.
Yo,
Well,
yeah. Well, now you're talking about
it's not. It's
Mexican
not fuzzy.
Mexican independence is like September the 8th or something like that. So that's
Some shit like that.
it's those 2 dates. It's the Cinco de Mayo that Floyd used to fight at. Now that Canelo's taken over, and then the Mexican Independence Day, which is in September. I think around September. I think it's September the 8th. But they fight whatever that corresponding weekend. I wouldn't mind that fight. I don't know if y'all saw any video of Isak when because he attended the fight. That guy has a following. Like the guy couldn't go 2 steps without somebody wanting to take a picture of him. So he's definitely somebody who is. I like that fight. I don't know if they'll make it, but
You better learn to love that fight. That's the fight that's coming next. Unless the unexpected happens, I would love for the Devin Haney, because Devin Haney after this fight with Lomachenko is a free agent. But they're not going to. Devin Haney's pops is not going to get A-side brawling the way that Ryan Garcia was. Not going to be doing catch weights and rehydration clauses, and they're not going to take 80-20 or 20% split. They're not going to do any of that bullshit. So if they're serious about making a fight with Devin Haney, they got to come to the negotiating table with real offers. Like maybe Tank is not the A side because Devin Haney is the real undisputed champ. Or maybe they split it 50-50 since Tank has more of a cachet, is a more valuable commodity, but Devin has all the belts. And I don't know if that's Leonard and all them guys and Al and Tim. I don't know if that's going to happen just based off the Ryan negotiations. I'd love for it to happen because that's a fight that needs to happen. It's just based off of the history of this guy and the history of the sport. I don't see it. I don't see it. I'd love for it to happen though. That's the fight that needs to happen.
That's the problem. It's like boxing has turned all of us into these cynics. It's just that when we see the kind of natural path of progression, then we just be like, well, that's not going to happen because they're going to be arguing about is it 55-45, 55 this and that, and then it's just going
to yeah. I mean, right? We're still waiting on Spence Crawford.
Man,
what happened to that?
I don't even.
When they're supposed to announce that the fight. Yeah,
that's blasphemy. I don't even. That's what I say on this show. We don't talk about that stuff until it's officially signed because it's crap. And those are not. I don't want to say, but those are not young guys, right? These are guys in 35, 33s, 32 years old. These are not young guys, and they're just wasting away what's left of their prime.
But Tank and his team have got to come to the negotiating table with a legit offer. If that's the fight they want to make, if they want to make that Devin Haney fight, they got to come with a real offer. It can't be no.
So I like end with this.
Can't be no bullshit.
So I'll say this. So one thing we haven't given our picks yet but I like what happens if Lomachenko throws in a monkey wrench and is able to.
I mean, and they run this shit back, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they would be.
Yeah, they're probably gonna run it back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they would have to run it back. Yeah. So Yeah, so it wouldn't. It'll probably be the worst. But I was like, but that means that Haney will have to go back to 135. But if Vasily Lomachenko, he might have a little surprise for you. But we'll give our punted picks once that comes up or whatnot.
When is
all
that
right.
fight? That's a month out. We're still like
That's May 20th. That's May. It's a little less. It's about 4 weeks away, about 28 days away. But with that said, we're going to sign off. This has been a very engaging, intense show. But this is your boy, Professor Nils. I'm signing out for Boston Jared.
Peace.
The Casual Rand.
Peace.
And Coach Dave.
Real.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe and join us next week for another episode of Pop Talk. And we are out.
Tank face of boxing.